welcome back.
Welcome back to our third Facebook Live reference.
Yeah, so
I think first we should comment on our upgrade.
Oh yeah, we should comment on our tech upgrade.
So unless things go terribly, terribly wrong, the camera should not go tumbling down off of a stack of books.
No, and you're seeing us in 1080p.
That's right.
So get excited. Yeah, and hopefully the sound's a little bit better too.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. So and also we have some sort of ambient lighting in here, so
Yes.
you're not. Yeah. So yeah, tech upgrade. Thanks. So we should say before we actually get started that today we are giving away a
Really cool. Is it? I guess it's not
If
a
you
door
eat
prize. If you eat meat.
if you eat meat, which I do.
I don't.
You don't. So
I feel kind of weird trying to hawk this.
I kind of weird stealing it. So yeah, so it's a Chick-fil-A like
Gift
box with which I've never really seen before, but there's a cow.
This is the
toy.
best part. He's a soft cow.
But I do think probably the best part is the actual free meat.
But he's really cute.
It's kind of cute.
It's also got two little plastic cups.
Because you
in
need
here.
more clutter in your life.
Let me turn so you can actually see it.
'Cause
Well, hey, if you're living in a dorm, you might not have anything to drink out of.
that's
Have you ever lived in a dorm?
yes. But
You know what? I made meals and drank coffee and drank soda out of like the same gigantic mug.
I don't know what to say to you right now,
Okay,
except
well-
like Target exists.
It did not where I was.
Oh, all right,
undergrad.
all right.
Okay.
So, but the best part, besides the mugs that Stephanie desperately needed apparently in college, is a nugget. You can get an 8-count or some chicken strips. So, I mean, just make a comment below, ask a question, and I guarantee you have a very good chance of winning.
Very good chance.
Like, really, really good. Okay, so
All
that's
right.
what we're giving away today. Okay. So as Stephanie packs away her cups that she can't keep, we will talk about kind of what we're going to talk about this week. So last week we
Talked about how to locate a book if you know what you're looking for.
yeah.
How to use South Cat to find a title, and how to go up into the stacks and actually find that book.
Yeah, we did upload because somebody was very kind and pointed out to us that everything sort of was mirror image in the video and not the greatest quality, which is again why we upgraded. We did upload a screencast of
How to do it.
how to do it.
Yeah. So you
So
can
better
find that-
quality.
You can find that below last week's Facebook Live, or it was actually posted separately too.
Yeah.
So that will be there for you to use.
In the video part of like you can look in the
Yes.
videos and
Mhm.
Facebook and find
It'll
it.
be
Yeah,
in
it'll be
videos.
archived there.
Archived librarian.
But this week we're going to talk about circulation
That's right.
policies a little bit. We get a lot of questions about that. I think probably more the beginning of the year from students that are like, how many books can I check out? For how long can I have them?
How do I check out a book? How many books can I check out?
Those kind of questions.
Yes.
And so because there is no way we can memorize all of this, we have cheat sheets that we will
Yes.
talk about. So I guess where to start is
Maybe just
where to
check it out.
Yeah.
Step one. All right, so you follow step one. But we're not going to do that.
We're really bad at steps, if you guys remember. Like we get to 2 and then we stop with the steps.
That's as far as Beth can count. So not really, no.
I'm not that good at math. It's okay. Arts and humanities librarian, all right? So first off,
All right, so if you followed the directions last week and now you've got your book in your hand,
where do you go?
where do you go? First thing you got to do is you got to go down the stairs. Well, we're on the second floor. Maybe some context would be good.
Yeah,
So-
okay, so first floor.
First floor to the circulation desk. And that is where you check out most of the materials. The only exception would be if you needed some weird reference thing, right?
Well, I mean, for students, let's just make it easy.
Easy.
For you guys, for students.
go to the first floor.
Circulation desk. And they will ask you for your student ID, which is your JAG card.
Yes.
So, like the same thing that you use for everything.
Right.
That's your library card, your student ID, all that stuff. And they will ask you for it because we do want to make sure that your roommate isn't checking out books under your name and then doesn't plan to return them.
Yeah.
Because we'll talk about
you
fines
are
and
the
stuff
one who has to pay
later.
the
Right.
fines,
We don't want any fines for you. So they will ask you for your ID. So make sure you bring it with you. Okay, so that's where to go.
Yes.
Your library card is your student ID. Let's talk about how many books people can borrow.
Okay.
So that generally kind of breaks down into 3 categories for the most part: undergrads, graduate students, and faculty. Okay.
Mhm.
So undergrads can borrow up to 20 books at a time,
Right, 20.
and they can keep them for, what is it? It is 28 days.
28 days, so 4
Before
weeks.
your first renewal, and we'll get to renewals in a
Mhm.
second. So your lending period is 28 days. Graduate students can check out 40 books.
That's a lot of books.
It's a lot of books. And their lending period is also 28 days before their initial renewal. And then faculty, we say you can only check out 60 books. We don't care.
Yeah.
We know where to find you.
We will find you.
So that's kind of faculty and students. A lot of undergrads are like, 28 books, I'll never need all, or 20 books, I'll never need all those.
You'll be surprised.
You will.
How quickly it adds up.
At some point, you will need them. So I guess we should talk about, so that's number of items, and that's just things in the general book stacks.
Yes.
Which is the majority of our circulating collection.
Mhm. Most things that you're going to check out are going to be in that category.
Yeah, so we'll get to reserves in a second. So make sure we do reserves.
Okay.
Okay,
We'll
so
get
we're going
back
to
to
note to self, do reserves.
Should we talk about how they can check their account online to see how many
I think
books
we
they have?
should.
Okay.
I'll let you do that.
All right. So do you remember when we showed you SouthCat last week? If you go into SouthCat, you can log in using your J number and last name. Yes, it's a little bit different from logging into other things.
Just
so,
keeping y'all on your toes.
Yeah, that's right. So it's your J number and your last name, and you can see how many books you have checked out, and that can help, and when those books are due, and you can also renew those books. So when you reach the end of your
28-day lending period,
you can go online and renew the books.
Yeah, and you have a certain number of renewals that you're allowed to do through that system.
2.
It's 2. But that is if there is not a hold or a recall
Mhm.
on a book. So I guess we should quickly talk about holds and recalls.
Yes.
And what they are and what they mean, because I think people see them and they're like, what?
All right, so if you go to SouthCat and you look up a book and you see that it is checked out, it's not here. I guess that's a
Somebody checked it out.
Universal symbol for checked out
Check
book.
out books.
If you see that it is checked out, you can request that the book be recalled.
Returned.
Yeah, return to us.
And there are 2 options. So hold and recall.
Mhm.
Hold is if the book has less than 2 weeks left on the lending period. So if the book is due in 2 weeks or less than the date you're looking at it. Wow, that was really confused.
If the book's going to be due in 2 weeks or less.
Or less.
Yeah.
Hold. If the book is going to be due further out from that, recall it. What that means is that the circulation folks will then send that person a email and says like, hey, bring your book back.
Mhm.
Somebody else needs to check it out. And what happens is after a certain period, if that person doesn't bring the book back, then they start accruing fines.
Right.
So if you get an email that says, please bring a book back, do it.
And if it's recalled, they cannot renew it.
Right.
Right.
Right. Which is why we started that conversation.
Right. back around.
Circular. Back to it, right? So that's hold and recalls. And actually people do use the hold and recall
They do,
function.
yes.
So I do it.
I've done it.
Yeah. And I think I kind of encourage students to do it sometimes, depending. Okay. So since we talked a little bit about fines, let's talk about fines.
Fines. Yeah.
Nobody likes fines,
Nope.
but they're there so we can make sure that stuff gets back on the
Mhm.
shelf in a timely manner, which means that people can use them. Okay, so again, I'm checking my cheat sheet because I don't memorize the fines because to me that's the sad part about
It is.
the circulation period. Okay, so regular fines.
I think it's 25 cents a day.
I think it's
right?
25
Yeah.
cents a day. Yeah, so if you passed your due date, it's 25 cents a day. If you have other weird items, it can be more. Things on reserve can be more, which we'll talk about reserves in a second. So if you get something on reserve and it's due make sure you bring it back, because
Yes.
that's I think it's 5 cents an hour for some items.
is, yeah.
And that can add up pretty
Or
quickly.
5 cents a minute, even.
Is it a minute? No,
It's something
It can't
pretty-
be 5 cents.
Maybe
a minute.
not. Maybe that's too intense.
Maybe like $100 in like a minute.
That's right. Hey, math, okay?
Math. No, seriously, that would be awful. I think it's 5 cents an hour. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, it gets bad. So make sure you bring it back, okay? And what happens if you don't bring a book back and pay your fine is we can put a hold on your transcript.
Yes.
Which is no bueno.
Right.
If you're trying to graduate, that's no bueno. And also,
if you're trying to apply for a job and you need your transcript sent, if you need to register for classes.
Right, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So even if you're not graduating, if you need to register, they will put a flag on your account with the registrar, and you won't be able to register for the upcoming semester.
So you can't just wait until you're a senior and then pay off all your fines. Yeah.
Yeah. So just that's what we want the books.
Yeah,
to
I know
come
that
back.
sounds really mean and horrible, but it's really so that the books are available for all students
For
to
all.
use. Imagine if you really wanted a book and someone else was just hoarding it. And it happens.
Imagine. Okay, so that's fines. We won't go into all the super details about fines, but if you guys have any questions, you can ask a question. And I do see that we have a question, so we will answer that in a second.
All right,
question.
great.
Okay. So let's talk about reserves a little bit.
Okay.
Like what's on reserve and what that actually means. So there's like two major types of reserve in the Marx library. And one is course reserve and one is just kind of general library reserve. And there are fewer and fewer things on that second general library reserve type category. Most of the stuff you guys will probably be using and in that general reserve category are things like your CLEP books, your GRE prep books, stuff like that that could easily walk off and never come back, right? Things like that. Those are in kind of that general reserve. Course reserves are things that your professors put on physical reserve for you at the circulation desk. There's also an electronic reserve, which we may talk about in like a different video.
Yeah, that's a little bit different.
It's a little bit different, but we're talking kind of physical reserves. And then the reserves break down kind of into different time periods.
Okay.
So
let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. So there's a 2-hour checkout reserve, which means you can check it out. You have 2 hours and you can take it away from the library and use it wherever you want to, but you have 2 hours to get it back. There's a 2-hour in the building checkout, which means you can check it out for 2 hours, but you can't leave the building with it.
You can go anywhere in the library, but you can't leave the library.
Can't leave the library with it. There's a 1-day circulation, which means obviously you can leave because we're not going to hold you hostage, right? There's a 3-day. We're definitely not going to hold you hostage for that one. And then there's a 7-day, which most of those GRE prep books and things like that, they fall into that 7-day reserve. So you can have it for 7 days and then bring it back. And on those 7-day stuff, there is a renewal option. So if you have the GRE book and you're like, oh, GRE is in 12 days and I want to keep it, there's a renewal. But those weird like 1, 2 hour, 3 hour, 1 days, those generally don't have renewals.
And often the time of the course reserve is set by the professor, right?
They can specify. But I think we also try to judgment call it. So if we know that something's on reserve and a bunch of students are all trying to use it at the same time, we may change that to a 2-hour in the library reserve.
Right. Okay.
Just because we're like,
gotta make sure everyone gets it.
This 3-day thing is not going well. So right? Like we have people camping out waiting for this book.
Yes, and that does happen.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of students will come for one
text.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll try to figure out the best way to make reserve work for y'all. That's what it's there for. Okay. What other kind of circulation stuff should we talk about? What else is on our cheat sheet?
Should we talk about media?
Sure. What do we want to say? What do we want to say about media? That you can check it out.
Yeah, you can check it out. I think the fine's a little bit higher.
The fine's a little bit higher, and the loan period is shorter. It's a 14-day loan period.
Days. So only 2 weeks instead of 4 weeks.
Which, if you really want to watch that movie 14 times within a 2-week period, you can.
You could do it.
Yeah. But so you can check out all of our media. There are some, we have another question, which is kind of funny. There are some Other lending options for faculty, graduate students, our bound periodicals can be lent to our graduate students, and our theses and dissertations can as well.
Right.
Those are a little bit, those circulation things are a little bit weird. If you guys have questions about those in particular, we will answer them.
Yes.
But let's turn our attention so we're not going too long.
Yeah, I think we should go ahead and
answer some
address the
questions.
questions.
Okay, so first question is, can I print from my wireless? Wait, I read it wrong. Can I print from my laptop wirelessly?
Unfortunately, no, you cannot.
Um,
We do have Wi-Fi, so you can use the internet on your computer, but you can't print from your laptop.
yeah, I mean, hopefully at some point, I'm forthcoming, hopefully, maybe within the next, like, ever. But yeah, so you can't, we don't have any wireless printing. So what you'll need to do, what I tell students to do all the time when I'm on the desk, is either email it to yourself, upload it to your Google Drive. If you're still old school, put it on a thumb drive, whatever you want to do, but you'll need to open that document on one of our library computers.
And then you can print it using the directions that we gave you in our very first one.
Right. And that are plastered all over the library,
Yes.
which I've answered 100 times today. So, no. To answer your
Yeah,
question.
that's it.
No printing
You
wirelessly.
can't.
Okay, so our next question. Do we have VHS tapes? Not anymore.
They are gone.
They're
Goodbye.
they walked
They walked out. Wait, this means checked out, though. They were, like, tossed out. Yeah. They're gone.
They're gone. Which there are a couple reasons why we got rid of them. And the first one you can probably imagine.
Who has a VHS player?
Sounds like my parents.
I think my parents do too. Sorry, Mom, if you're watching.
Yeah, sorry, Mom and Dad, I had ratted you out. Yeah, but so who's got a VHS player? So that was the problem, is we were having trouble kind of maintaining the machinery to actually use them, and their condition was
they're
really degrading pretty terribly.
I mean, when we were taking them off the shelves, they were literally crackling to bits in our hands.
Yeah. So we no longer have them, and what we did in an effort to replace the content for that stuff, because although honest, most of the content really wasn't circulating anymore.
No, it wasn't. Nobody used these things.
But we did subscribe. Well, not really subscribe. Subscribe's the wrong term. We now have access to a couple streaming media services.
Yes.
So, do you want to talk about those?
Yeah, we can talk about
just quickly what they are.
Yeah. The first one of these is Canopy.
Canopy.
My personal favorite, I think. Yeah. And it has access to a lot of feature films,
Documentaries,
foreign language films,
PBS stuff.
Yes.
The Criterion collection is in there. So if you're a film studies person or a film buff,
right? Because lots of silent films are in there.
Yeah. And all of those records are going to be accessible through our catalog.
Yes.
So you can, if you're searching for something, search the catalog to see if they're in there.
You can also go to our databases page, our databases and ebooks tab on the library. Thank you. E-reference. And and you'll see a tab that specifically says streaming media.
Yeah. So we've got Canopy. We're working on a second one right now. Alexander Street. Yeah, so that should be forthcoming. And then we did get rid of our CD collection. So like the little old school CDs. As if you guys didn't know. Maybe you don't know what they are. I don't know. So we did get rid of those. And we got a streaming music service called Naxos. So it's all kind of streaming music, world music, classical music, stuff like that. And that is also accessible under our databases and e-reference page under streaming media. It's also alphabetically accessible.
Right.
And that's for, again, same principles as our other databases, students,
now, is
faculty,
that searchable through the catalog?
It is not, because it would be way too many records. Right. Yeah.
So you'll have to go find it under the databases.
Oh, and one of our librarians who's watching also pointed out that we are Sage.
Yes.
Those Sage videos. Thank you, Kathy.
Sage knowledge videos, which are going to be mostly instructional videos in the social sciences. So not really like easy watching.
Well, I mean, if that's your jam.
I guess if that's your thing, yeah.
That's your jam.
But definitely very useful for some of your coursework.
For sure. Social science coursework. Right.
Yeah,
mainly.
Yeah, it's mainly, yeah. Other stuff's in there. If faculty are watching, use it because it's really cool.
Yeah. And then, okay, so last question. So, because we're running up on 20 minutes. What is Google Drive and how do I get an account?
Good news.
You already have one!
Right. Do you remember that thing you have called a JAG mail? I assume you're checking it every day, like the university advises you to do.
Please do.
You have access through to Google Drive to all of the Google Suite using that account. So you log into your JAG mail, you'll see the little grid in the top right-hand corner, drop it down, and you will see Google Docs,
Google Forms, Google Sheets, which is their version of Excel. What else? All
Google
kind of stuff.
Pictures.
Yeah, and the file upload option. So guys, please, we talked about this a little last week, but upload your files into the cloud. They stay there. So like if something weird or wacky happens to your computer, like you drop it down the stairs
or you lose your
in the bathtub or whatever you're doing, you still have your stuff.
And it's really cool because you can access it from any computer that has the internet. So you could be working on something at the library, go home, pull it up on your laptop, and all the work that you've done.
Yeah, it's also cool for collaboration too. So if you're working in like a group, because we use it as kind of a collaborative tool a lot around here. So if you're working on a group project, then multiple people can be working on the same document at the same time.
You can share it with all those people.
You're not trying to make sure that you're always working on the most up-to-date document, which can be really annoying.
And you're not emailing attachments back and forth. You can actually see those changes live.
Yeah.
As people are working on them. It's very cool.
Very cool. And then, so somebody asked, is that the Google Apps for Education? Yeah. So that's an easy question. Yes, it is. You guys have any last questions before? No. Well, we had some questions today.
We did. Thanks for
the questions. We love the questions. Okay, and so you guys, we've been talking kind of about general library landy kind of stuff. But if you guys have any topics that you want librarians to talk about,
if there's something specific you want us to help you find, or you want to know, a specific resource you're interested in,
we could profile what a discipline, how to do research. I mean, just let us know.
If there's a database that you have trouble using, we'll be happy to help.
And if it's not a database that's really kind of home to our disciplines, we'll bring in the liaison librarian that is. So we will get that question answered, because don't ask me to use IEEE. That's terrible. Okay, so closing statements. Don't forget, all these videos will be archived in the videos thing on Facebook, which is up there somewhere on our Facebook page. So go back and watch the first two if you haven't watched them. There's some great info in there, if I may say so myself.
Wonderful information.
I mean,
and of course, you could always go just to listen to our sultry voice.
God almighty. Okay. And what else? Oh, make sure you subscribe to our social media. So if you haven't liked us, like us.
Yes.
And also check out our Instagram and our Twitter. Right. And so, and make sure you do that soon, because some really cool stuff is going to be happening in the next couple of weeks with Banned Books, right?
That's right. Yes. On social media, we are going to have all kinds of fun things for Banned Books Week, both here in the library and on social media.
Right.
So make sure that you are following our Facebook page and our Twitter.
So you don't miss any fun stuff, because Stephanie does really funny stuff. So make sure you see it.
Believe it or not.
Yeah. All right, guys. So, what's our Instagram? So our Instagram is, oh my God, now that you asked me, I'm like,
it's USA.library. I'm sorry,
no,
Marx.library. Sorry, the Twitter.
Scratch that.
The Twitter's old. It says the Twitter's old, and it's USA_library.
Right, which is old.
It's old.
Because we used to be just University
We didn't have a name. Which is kind of sad.
No, but now we do.
So it's Marx.library.
Yes.
Yeah.
So find us at Marx.library.
All right.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All right. Well, we will see you next week.
We'll see you next week.
Have fun. Bye. Come see us.
Yeah. All right. Let me just, this is always so awkward, like reaching over to like.